morning. Today we are going to be doing this lovely little seascape. It's a really simple little project, and we're going to be using a couple of different things. So first of all, I did tape up the edge with this tape. I think it was for scrapbooking actually. I picked it up, but just taped off the edge so that if you want, you can take it out of your sketchbook and make a picture out of it. I used, these are the supplies you'll need. A micron 0.05 pen and a micron 0.005 pen, as well as my little trusty flat little cheapy brush, my Velvet Touch Princeton number 6, also my Velvet Touch Princeton number 10, and I actually grabbed another little glaze flat Artist Loft brush that I picked up at Michael's for pretty cheap. And that, and of course a Canson, this is a Canson watercolor sketch pad. So a lot of these things that I'm doing on my channel, I'm doing in my sketchbook. So I did not use the Tombows today at all. That being said, I did also use, the watercolors I used were raw umber, burnt sienna. I used quite a few different colors of greens. Any color green you have is fine. I used ultramarine blue. I used Prussian blue. I used a little bit of Viridian as well. It's a really kind of aqua kind of blue. I used a little bit of Paynes gray, and the other thing that I used was some white gouache, and that's where you see on here, you see all the little pieces of white. That is from the white gouache, just to add a little bit of highlight. So I hope you guys, oh, and I used salt, by the way. I used some kosher salt. So this is a fun little project, and I hope you join along, and we'll see you on the next step. Hello everyone. So for this first step, we're going to dip our brush in water, and we're just going to cover the page with water here, and leave some spots that are not covered with water also. So just like that. I have salt here. There is a reason for that. We will be looking at that. So now that we've got, add quite a bit of water on there, because we're going to make a fairly dark little sky here. So now I want you to take this brush, or take your round brush. I have a number 10 here, and I'm going to dip it in, and I'm going to go straight into some Prussian blue, and I'm going to get fairly dark here, and I'm just going to run it right across the top of that page. And you want to just let it do its thing here, and see how that's really dry in there. That works out lovely, because it just gives it that little extra something. So now I'm going to rinse my brush off, and I'm going to put my brush into some ultramarine blue and just add that to the top. And when this blends, it's going to be sort of like a violet color. So just like that, I'm going to take a few more there. I'm just going to make it a little bit darker at the top there, and just put some little streaks across here and just let it do its thing. There you go. And then maybe there, just a few darker streaks up in here. And then it's going to run down that page, and it's going to look super cool for the sky. Okay, and then while our brush is still wet, just going to go in, and I'm going to put in, I'm going to leave a little bit of, I'm actually, I'm having a hard time talking here today. Sorry about that. I actually mixed up a tiny bit of the green along with the Prussian blue, and I'm just gonna come in and I'm just gonna lay it right across here, just very gently. And again, I'm just letting that, it's more of a dry brush technique right there. So I want you just to do that. I'm gonna go right into some yellow now, some yellow gamboge, and I'm gonna go right in here, okay? Because this is gonna be a little bit of our land here in this area. And then I'm gonna go down in here and I'm gonna go with a darker green down here, down in this area. Again, we're letting it run. And it's very wet. And I'm gonna go even darker here at the base. Just really dark. And it's almost gonna look like it's raining almost. Okay, and now we're gonna take that salt, okay, this salt here, and I want us to just put some salt at the bottom of this, okay? Just a tiny little bit, and then we're gonna let that completely dry. So I will see you back here on the next step. Okay everyone, so now I've taken the salt off. It's completely dry now. So we're starting with almost like a fresh canvas here. And what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna put a little line in the back here to indicate water. Just a tiny little line. I'm gonna use my number 6 Princeton and just dip it in a little bit of water. And it's just gonna be a very light bluish line. So I'm gonna kind of use the same color we had, but just a very light little line that goes across here. And it's kind of like a aqua, sort of I've got 2 colors here mixed together. It's like an aqua and just a little bit of, or blue and a little bit of green. And I'm just gonna distinguish the line in the back, just a little back and forth. And then as we get closer to the front, I'm gonna add a little bit of my cerulean blue in there as well. Just because it's gonna get darker as it gets to the front. And back and forth is all we're doing here. Just back and forth, and we're just making this up. There we go. Okay, so that is gonna be my water. Now, what I thought we would do, if you look here, look at all those textures that was made by that salt. It's really, really super pretty. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to make some fence posts, and they're gonna go all the way, what side? I'm gonna have a tree on one side. Maybe I'll have the tree on this side, and then I'm just gonna make some fence posts that go off on the page there. So let's do the tree here now. I'm gonna use the brown, the raw umber, I guess it's called, to make the tree. So, and I'm just gonna start, oh, hopefully you can see this. I'm just gonna start over to the left here, and I'm just gonna make just a little tree. And I'm gonna go darker with this too, but this tree, I will be adding vegetation on the tree as well. So I just want it light for now. And again, you're always gonna start with the lighter colors. So I'm gonna leave that like that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, for now anyway, I'm gonna take my little flat brush here, and I'm just going to dip it in some water, and I'm going to get some fairly light green paint here. There we go, and dip that away. It's just some light green paint, And then I'm just gonna put some little semblance of a tree here. And I'm just lightly dabbing on here. Gonna use a little bit more dark here. Just like that, because it's gonna be summer, so we want this to be a fairly lively little painting, a little bit more dark. And I use this brush because it's really simple to make trees with this kind of brush. So just hanging off there a little bit, maybe it goes up there. So I'm gonna leave that for a minute. We're gonna go in and we're gonna have really dark in there, but I'm just gonna let that dry first a little bit. Actually, I might go into that really dark for a minute here, just to let them sort of mingle together. Yeah, I think that's better. So just a little bit of dark there. There we go. And then we'll go in and add another layer to that as well. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make the fence posts now. So I'm just going to take my number 6 again, and I'm going to dip it in some raw umber, and I'm just going to make some fence posts that go across here. So one here, and they don't have to be exactly the same either. So just, you know, random sort of posts here. I'm going to add on, the light's going to be coming this way, so I'm going to add a little bit, another layer here to the back of this tree for a minute. And I want those branches to show through too, so I'm going to do that for a second. Then I'm just going to wait for this to dry. And we're going to make some leaves and things over here too, but I'm going to go into that really, I'm going to make a really dark green now, because I want this to be a really dark color here. So a lot of green paint. Just going to go in here and do this again here. And just leave some of that other stuff shining through there at the back. There you go. Just like that. That nice green color. I might add a few little things in here too. Just in the front here. And just this and that with your brush here. We're going to add some birds to that background, and then I think we're going to let that dry again for a minute or two. So I'm just going to grab my 0.005 micron pen, and I'm just going to make a few birds back here. It's kind of just a little V shape. And they might be, you know, flying here, there, and everywhere. So usually when you see seagulls, there's a group of them. So don't be shy. Make as many as you like. There we go. That's about right there. We're going to add to our fence posts here. We're going to add a little bit of color to the back here. Just a little bit of low light, I guess you would call it, like that. I'm going to grab a different color. I think I'll grab this extra small Faber-Castell and go over that again. Okay, and then we're going to have the posts with little wires, little wire hanging around it. And it's going to go up in here like that. And, you know, who knows, this wire's all over the place. Again, little wire here and here. It's all over. And we're going to settle those posts down too. and then maybe it hooks up here and goes off on the page like this. And same over in this direction, because it's broken. So, and also it might have these little stars in there, because oftentimes with this wire you'll find these little stars. And we are going to add a little bit more highlight to those posts, by the way. So, or a bit more detail, I guess. So I'm just going to leave it like that now. I'm going to draw a slight line back here just to indicate the horizon line, maybe, if my pen works. There we go. There's a horizon line back there of our water, back in here and here. Okay. Also, I'm going to draw this tree in here, and there might be some humps and bumps in there as well. In there, down in here, just to give it a little character there. And we're going to definitely set these posts down here too. And these look like little flowers here now. So if you want, we can put little flowers in there too, or you could leave it like it is. It just gives it a little bit of texture there. For the tree here, once this is dry, I'm going to add a little bit more green on there. I'm also going to go into my dark, I'm going to make a bit of a darker brown here too. There we go. And I'm going to use the raw umber as well as a little bit of the Paynes gray, and just make it a little bit, give it a little more oomph on those fence posts, just on the one side. The light's coming from the right. And so we want just a little bit darker there. Same on the tree. There we go. And there's going to be little branches and things in there going off that tree. So we want those in there too. And we're going to lighten up, or we're going to darken that up and still lighten that up all at the same time. There might be some things coming out here too. And maybe there's this color in the grass. So you just don't know. But we know that's the edge of the water. So, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to dip my brush in that water again, and I'm going to go and I'm going to make a super, super dark green. So I am using the permanent green as well as Paynes gray, just to make a really dark green. And we're going to go in here and we're just going to put that on. And we'll put it on everywhere just to give it a little more oomph. It's going to be darker on the left-hand side. So I'm going to make that a little bit darker, but we're also going to be adding a bit of white gouache just to add highlight as well. Mix in just a little bit more here. My trouble, I never mix enough of the stuff I need. So don't feel bad if you guys are having that issue too. So, okay. So just a little bit of darkness on there. And I could use the other brush, but I think I feel like I want to use this brush now just to give it a little bit more character here. And it makes it, because there's so many colors of green on there now, it makes it look almost 3D, which is kind of cool. And then we'll go and add highlight to this as well. It's going to be dark under that area there. Again, in here, darker in here. And leave some of that sky peeking through there, everybody. And maybe they're falling off here. Maybe there's some leaves back in here. We just don't know. Maybe there's some stuff going on in here too. And just add in a few little things there, here and there. And then we're going to be adding white to that as well. I'm going to add a little bit of dark. I seem to have forgotten the one little post over here. So I'm just going to go back in there and add that in there a little bit. There we go. Just like that. Okay, perfect. I love it. Okay, So now I'm hoping that I've still got this in the right place here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let that dry for a minute, and then I am gonna come back in, put some white gouache, and we're gonna add some sticks and branches and things in here. And we might put a few more dark marks in here, but we'll see. Okay, we'll see you on the next step. So now just to finish up, I've got my flat brush here, and I'm just gonna go into a little bit of white gouache. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's almost like, well, it's like a watercolor, but it's just a little thicker so that you can lay it down fairly thick. And I'm just gonna add some highlights, so it's almost like acrylic here. I'm just gonna add some highlights to the top of this tree over here. There we go. And I don't want anything, you know, too much, but I do want a little bit of highlight. There we go, just like that. And it gives you just a little bit of punch. And same here, I'm gonna actually grab, I have a whole set of gouache, though the only one really I've used so far is the white. So I'm just gonna grab a little more and put it on. It's like, it's a bit like the acrylic because it does dry out a little bit. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit more, but it's just a bit thicker. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit more, and then I'm gonna go along on these little fence posts here and just put a little highlight line. And you don't want it on, you don't want it everywhere, just here and there, just to give it a little something here along the side, just so that you can tell that the sun is shining off of there. And again, I'm just gonna go in here and dab just a bit on here, just to make it, and it adds texture as well to your painting. So just a little in here as well, just to add a little bit. And you don't want it everywhere. You don't want to take away from your darks there, but I think that's about right. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more on the tree here on the side here. And you don't want to do just a straight line. You kind of want to dab it a little bit there. There you go. So just like that. Maybe a little bit over this way as well. There we go. I feel like that is probably enough. And then I'm also gonna just gonna dip my brush in some water, and I'm gonna go into a little bit of blue. I'm gonna make sure I don't want a huge amount here, just a little bit, just to add a little bit into the water here as well. Just to add a little more in there. And I want it, you can rub it with your finger if you want. Kind of want it to go underneath there, just to show that dark and that white a little bit more. Just in here a little bit. Just a little here and there, just to make it look a little bit like it's a surf, I guess. This is what I'm looking for. There we go. Back in here as well, just to the side. There we go. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually go in again with that black pen. I'm not sure where all my micro, oh, here they are. They're on the other side. Sometimes I'm such a dough head. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna just add in a few little grasses and things in here, just to make it settle down a little bit. Because in here, in this area, it's gonna be close to us here. And just, maybe there's a few little things in here. And then back in here too. And then there's gonna be, there's little stones and things in here. So Let's set down those posts a little bit. There you go. Maybe there's some little rocks and things in here just to add, and then maybe back in here too. There's a few little things back here, but I want that mostly to stay nice and bright back there. And then we might add a little bit of this into the post there, just to show where that stuff goes. That wire, it can't just sit anywhere. And then I feel like I might even just add a little bit of character to some of these and add a little black in here as well, just to give them a little extra. And in here too, just add that, as well as in here. Maybe there's a branch that comes there. Whoops, that might have been a bit dark. There you go. There you go. And a branch in here too. Okay. And with that, I feel like that is finished, so I'm going to sign it. And then we're going to take the tape off. Just about spelt my name wrong. How silly is that? Okay, so the way I've done this, I've done it in a funky kind of way. So I'm going to take this side off first, this side off next. And this is right in the sketchbook, so I've gone right into the next page, or the bottom of the page here. So I'm going to take that. Just be careful when you take it off. And then you've kind of got a nice little framed picture. I'm so excited. Okay, and then go here. Sorry if I'm off the camera. There we go. Again, having trouble getting that off. Oh, and then I'm just going to get rid of that brush and bring that out. And there you have it, a nice little seascape. It's very pretty, and yeah, I really like it. So I hope you liked today's journey, and we'll see you on the next painting. Bye.